3 years after an inexplicable event suddenly equips them with extraordinary powers, Amelia True and Penance Adair work to protect their kind. Hello, everybody. I'm Steve from VALHARTV, and today I will be reviewing The Nevers, Episode 1. Well, it's London, 1899, and we see Amelia and Penance head to a house in London to find a girl called Myrtle. Myrtle is another girl that is touched. And when they say they're touched, it means the people who have special abilities. An event 3 years prior happened that gave certain people abilities that they could do different things with. As we find out, Amelia and Penance are two of these women who were touched. Amelia is kind of like she can see the future a little bit, and Penance can see, how does she put it? Energy, like where it's traveling to, which path it wants to take, things like that. So she became an inventor, Penance did. So I thought this was kind of a neat idea. This whole concept is kind of neat. And after they go and find Myrtle, Myrtle is a girl who can speak every language in the world. She has them all in her head, but she can't speak English when she speaks. But she can understand it. She can understand all language as well. She just can't speak English for some reason. That I found was a little weird. But Amelia and Penance help run an orphanage for the touched. And they help to protect these people that have been touched. Because right now society is thinking that they're like kind of a blight. You know, it's the status quo's being challenged by these people who are touched, and you have the older gentlemen and older people in parliaments want to keep things how they used to be. But with change, you really can't go backwards. You know, sometimes you can, but it's rare on those occasions. And the orphanage is for all those types of people who, who are touched, who need some help in learning how to control their powers or things like that. And after the group is attacked while they're trying to get Myrtle, they're attacked by like a group of guys who's trying to take Myrtle. So after that, they tighten up the security around the orphanage because, there's another group that we start really getting introduced to right away that is out to get people that are touched. And while all this is happening, there's a dark cloud that's hanging over London with a serial murderer by the name of Malady. And we finally meet Malady at the opera house, and we find out that she's looking for somebody. She's there to kill somebody, basically. And she doesn't know where they are. She can't really find them. But we also get to see, like, this is really a really great scene because we see that there's people working with her that are not insane, not serial murderers as well. Not right off the bat, anyways, until she goes crazy. Malady does and tells them just start shooting people. But yeah, it's a really, really interesting thing with Malady when we finally get to meet her. Like, just what her mindset is almost and things like that. It's very interesting and it's very cool. And as the story continues, we get to meet like more players, like a lot of people all at once. Like we get the Beggar King, who is played by Nick Frost, and he goes by Declan Orrun. Yeah, so when I saw that Nick Frost was in this, I was like, dude, this is awesome. This is really cool, And they know him as the Beggar King, so I was like, dude, that's even better. He's literally playing a criminal. I'm like, I love this, And we get to meet Detective Frank Mundy, I think is how you pronounce his last name. Lord Mason, who, is one of the lords who wants things to go back to normal. And a lot more people. I mean, a lot more people in this episode, which I was kind of surprised about, especially for the first episode. Typically, it's like the first 2 to 3 episodes we really start getting introduced to more and more people. But all in one shot, it's a little overwhelming, but at the same time, it's like really cool. And as the episode ends, we get to see the event of 1896, so the 3 years prior. We get to see what happened to get people touched, And I thought that was really cool, and it really kind of ends there. So I honestly think this was a pretty decent start to a series. This also introduces us to several different subplots that are woven together in the wake of the big event that changed Victorian London. This is almost kind of like a steampunk version of London, I feel like, as well as like some other stuff. Like his Dark Materials is also kind of like a steampunk-esque future too, you know what I mean? So I kind of felt like these were mixed in and everything. So, but the effects I thought were pretty good. The motorized cart looked pretty neat. I was like, a 3-wheeled motorized cart in 1899 London. I'm like, were there really any cars back then? I mean, I didn't get the chance to look it up, but I still thought it was kind of a neat little thing that they used. And like the different powers that some of them use as well is actually really kind of cool. The opera scene was like, for instance, where we get to see a girl start singing and like energy kind of like pulses out to different people with her. So I thought that was really cool, and the music I thought was good in this. I actually had no issues with the music. The opera I thought was actually fantastic because the opera were actual opera singers. They were working with a group of opera singers at the opera house. So they incorporated them into the show. I thought that was fantastic. I loved it for that. And I thought the acting was a little rough in a couple of scenes, but it's episode 1. Everybody's trying to figure out their characters, so that's not a big issue. But overall, I actually thought it wasn't bad. I was very surprised for for a episode 1 type thing where people are still trying to get into their characters and learn their characters and stuff. So I was pleasantly surprised about that. And there is some like quirky dialogue that sets Amalia and Penance apart too from the others, which I thought was kind of good. We even get to see, again, Nick Frost in this, and he did a fantastic job as the Beggar King. Loved it. The Nevers gets off to a decent start again. It has a good story, good dialogue, and it does some world building right off the bat. So we really get like immersed immediately into the world. And they have to do a lot of world building in just over an hour. So I thought that was very interesting for an episode 1 type, type opening for a season. And I believe it's only 6 episodes too, which is kind of disappointing. I was hoping it would be a little bit longer. But it does remind me again of like his Dark Materials a little bit, and like with a hint of the group dynamic from Buffy thrown in. So I thought that was kind of neat. And it wasn't a bad episode. I mean, it's not a bad thing either, and it wasn't a bad episode. I'd give this at least a 7.5 out of 10. Little rough in some spots, but overall, good story, good dialogue. If you guys like what I do, please hit the like button and also subscribe, as I'll be doing more content each week. And leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Take care for now, everybody.